Actually, I take that back. I didn't finish the whole thing. So it's a 30-inch breakdown bucksaw. It's a 30-inch breakdown bucksaw. So we got the big old 30-inch blade here. You got pins to hold it in. I just dropped. I always like repurposing, repurposing wood, repurposing lumber. But you can see it's bamboo by right there, right? Kinda dope. Kinda dope, kinda dope. That's the notch that the bank line will sit in. Get the bank line here. That's 9 inches. So it's a biggie, but the reason it's so long is because it's a 30-inch blade. So this, I believe, this cross member is 28 inches. I did a mortise and tenon joint, all hand cut. This is plywood, 9 different grits, ending at 2,000. So 2,000, 1,500, 800, 400, 220, and 100. So you take the most off with the 100, you get it baby soft, smooth, and then progressively work your way up. But one major thing I haven't done is I put my mortises in here, and I actually burnt it in, so you can't really see very great. Yeah, you can see in there. So I burnt those in after the fact. What it does is it hardens up the wood, gives it kind of a better feel, a better seating. So I can show you very quickly what. No, this is the right side, so this would be going in like so. See how that's a real positive fit? My other hand's right here. I'm not even holding on to that, and you don't need to because it is such a nice positive fit. That's why I do my mortise and tenons by hand. It's just nice, positive fit. The shoulders meet up nice. There's, I think, a 3/16 reveal on the back side. I believe so, yeah. So this part's for your hand. The hand will go here. The blade will rest in between these fellas. In between these fellas. That kerf was an absolute shit show to cut. Not even kidding. It's just, you can't run a table, so you can't run that through a table saw. Just the kerf is too thin, so that was hand cut to accept the blade. And you have to leave enough room that the blade's not hanging out here. You want the blade to sit up inside of your block, that when you're sawing, you know, if the edge of the bucksaw happened to grab you, then, you know what I mean? So that worked out perfect. I have not carved these guys yet. I put a design on that. I did cut a notch so I could trial and fit it, and that's where the actual notch is going, but kind of like a question mark looking swirly thing that we're doing. But there's the green in Poplar's top shelf, man. Absolute top shelf. So like I said, I put a couple nice hand holds here so far. Mortise and tenons all in there. Get this kind of lock in. It's a super positive fit. But I'm just psyched, so I'm going to do some carving. I'm going to do some pyrography here. Some good old-fashioned wood burning. And probably not going to be talking a ton. Just be focusing, so hopefully you guys enjoy a little pyrography. It's always fun. It's always fun to do woodworking, mortise and tenons cut by hand, and just, oh, that's the left side. That fits in very nice. Very positive fit. Like I said, the shoulders are nice. When it meets up, that sits in. It's not the tightest fit in the world, but it doesn't have to be. It's a pressure fit. So once you insert your blade here in that nice little groove, what happens is the tension from the bank line pulls this way a little bit, and in turn it pushes the blade out and makes the blade tight. So that's kind of the rhyme and reason to it. So let me get cracking here. Put a nice little wrap on here, so it's more like me tattooing than me with a pen. It's just so much easier. The bigger grip, so much easier. But that's the bamboo windlass. I'm so happy and just glad as hell how nice and slick and smooth that turned out. You can see it, the sheen on there. That's just from that 1500 grit and 2000 grit sandpaper. I probably put just 3 hours into knocking this down. Like, no kidding. About 3 hours just for the windlass alone. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But don't half-ass nothing. If you're gonna do it, do it right. Me and Jim just talked about that last night. It's worth doing. It's worth doing right. So hopefully that doesn't. I'll give you guys a decent shot that you can at least relatively see what I'm doing here. I absolutely love burning. You get some of the best smells. Depends what type of wood you're burning, but whew, just goes right up your nose. Super nice. Pyrography is fun stuff. I usually make 2 passes over everything. Wood burning. It's a very slow process, but blobs where you've overheated your wood in one certain spot, so it's like drawing super slowly. Like dot 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 dots, just nice. Definitely takes patience. That's Rhode Island. Jamestown. What that is. Wow. insane. The best seafood in the country comes from Crosby. Dot 16. He is a good dude, and he got a good channel. He got a nice leather working channel. He's a welder by trade, but he does some cool, very cool leather working stuff. Of course, I had to throw my Beantown B in it. Huge Red Sox fan I am. And I'll probably paint the inside of this. So the inside of these guys I'll paint. Or I can do a stipple design, whatever the customer desires. I'm in contact with them at least daily about this project. I've been working on it for about a week and a half so far, and he could care less about the time frame. He's just like, get it done whenever, Murph. So that's always nice when I don't have pressure. And when people don't need something tomorrow, which I have an Etsy channel for that, stuff that's already done and ready to go out the door, but a custom commission piece like this, when the customer gives me a very solid time frame that says, you know, do it in your own time, man. I know you're a working dude. It's just really nice to have that freedom, because I have three other commission pieces I'm working on right now. So it's like, yeah, man, get it done when you can. It's like, wow, thank you, I appreciate that. And what I usually do up front is have somebody give me like 3/4 up front, and then when it's delivered, give me the other quarter, just so I can buy materials if I need to, and blah, blah, blah. That way, I also ensure that somebody doesn't back out halfway through me spending, 80 hours working on something for somebody. Then they're like, you know what, can I get a refund? Because that deposit is not refundable. That's from my time and my artwork and, all my hard hand woodworking. These hands don't use power tools. These hands use hand tools, chisels, saws, axes, awls, files, planes, block planes, you name it. So you back out, you're paying me $50 for a setup fee before you walk out of my booth. Because I'm not pouring all and wasting all the tools and tubes that I've already taken out of the ultrasonic packs. I mean, the autoclave, steel packs, for you just to back out and be like, you know what? I don't want it, or I'm scared, or I'm not ready. I've had so many customers just absolutely calm them down and get them into it. And 90% of the time it's females, but there's been a couple dudes that have been scared that didn't have their game face on, that half hour left. And, it's just consoling people is a big part of tattooing. It's like going to the barber. Your barber knows more than, your best friend may know, because you can just sit there and open up to him at a situation like that. It's a tranquil, chill, cool environment. lettering done. Jim Crosby with the lovely Red Sox B in there. .16 at. Like I said, I'm going to paint this. I'm going to do the Instagram paint, which is like a purple to a blue to a yellow. It's a faded transition of colors. Blue, purple, yellow, orange, red, and yellow. Purple, blue, pink, orange, red, yellow. That's it. That's it. That's the cross member. I'll pop it together real quick so you guys can actually see what this breakdown bucksaw is all about. Because it's very cool. It's a neat gizmo. I have one myself, but it's not a 30-inch, it's a 25-inch. I've only put it together once since I've made the new windlass, that bamboo windlass, which I'm terribly psyched about. So that's kind of neat. Pretty rod. So that guy locks in like so. And the windlass goes in between your two pieces of paracord bank line here. And you roll towards yourself. That way when you create tension on it, it's going to sit on the back side of your cross member. It's a lot easier if I wrap it up like so. And then once that tension gets created, I make that little opening rather than sitting here rolling on it for 25 minutes. And I usually keep it about halfway through. Kick this way just a smidge. Keep it about halfway through. Then when it's ready to get tension on it, you pull down to where that little notch is right there and lock it in place. But I'm not ready for that now. That's why I made this like glass. Make sure the blade is seated, which it is. Got some tension on there now. Alright, those are locked in nicely. So what it does, like I said, is it pulls these arms in once, because essentially you're pulling this bank line tight. So if you're pulling something with arms tight this way, it's going to have a very equal action. There's a counter and opposite reaction, right? So if you're pulling the tops in, the bottom's necessarily going to come out. Well, with the bottom's out, you got these dowels through the saw holes. So what it's doing is it's tightening that blade up as you spin the windlass. Now, that was nice. It just came unraveled on me. Boy, I made this slicker than I usually do. I usually don't make windlasses this slick, but I really like this. All right, that shoulder's seated nice. This shoulder is seated lovely. Now, looking for sound. Tell how tight these guys are by sound. Probably one more should be good. Yep, that's the sound I'm looking for. All right, now I'm going to take this windlass, as you can see, and push it down. Oh, there's a lot of tension on that. Come on, baby. Tough process, but there we go. I should have done it when it was a little bit less tension on it, but that's what we got. That's how it sits. So there's the top of the bank line under tension, like a freaking guitar string. That guy is tight. You can literally use this for an instrument. We have the pins in the bottom, keeping the blade from going inside of that cut. We have the mortise and tenon joints, which I have a nice little reveal on either side, front and back. Let me kick this up just a smidge. Shut my headlamp off here. We have another shoulder on this side with about a 1/16 of a reveal, and Mr. Crosby's name is officially on it. So I gave 3 inches on either side of. Let me shut my pyrography machine off, my wood burner off. I gave 3 inches on either side of the cross member for just so this would be centered. So that's 4 fingers is for me is 3 inches. But yeah, this guy looks pretty sick, and this guy is like hardcore under tension. Hardcore. Legit hardcore. But I wanted to make windlass is so bloody long. The windlass with my bucksaw, which I keep in here. You guys have seen me tow that shit out before. You can see the difference. As an extra, and this is the length of my blade. You know, my uprights are probably about this big. My uprights are 18 because you have to take into consideration span of the blade and then cross member. But yeah, man, it's gonna look sick when it's done. He's absolutely stoked. I've been giving him shots and pictures of it and all that neat shit. But that's just the first layer of. That's basically me getting my stencil of my pyrography, my wood burner, which I have. I don't know what it's called. Pretty psyched. So he's stoked. It was lined up the way it's supposed to be. It was squared up. Everything's plumb and straight. Everything's a 90-degree angle. You know, I made sure everything was. I'm a carpenter, so I had to make sure everything was plumb and straight and square. Everything's smooth as can be. But one thing, still a couple things I have to do. Like I said, I have to scroll out the top of these designs. It's almost looks like a question mark. It's a little swirly, it's a little twirly. We're going to take about that much meat out of here. It's going to look really neat though, instead of just 2 blocks on the end. Mine, on the other hand, let me loosen this up just a hair while I'm gabbing. So mine, on the other hand, and this is fun to watch, ready? Get in the frame. Little bloody thing just. That's how much tension that puppy's under. She's still spinning, so it's under some serious tension. My bucksaw, on the other hand, and I could probably do a small comparison now that that's still relatively put together, besides the windlass taken out, is. Oh, I even offered to make him a pouch for it too, but fuck's sake, the pouch is gonna have to be as long as a blade. So this is my upright, one of my uprights. And when I said it's literally about 9.5 inches long, it is. So this is the part I grab. I made my uprights a bit different than his. I notched mine just because I wanted to, but same thing, mortise and tenon joint. I burnt a little design on the inside of that one, and I burnt the face just to make it nice and strong. This is poplar. It's nice poplar wood. I didn't decorate the back. I did decorate the front with just knot. They call it a crone knot. Just some goofy back and forth. Kind of knot work, not really. Tiny million thousand little dots in there. And we got an arrowhead at the top. But see that little notch? That's where the bank line sits. And this one I just came back. I think this was the flat on the top of my lumber. So it's more, I think, for like his wood shop. You can see my bees. Down bushcraft, and I put my trademark shamrock in the middle, but you can see my bees. This is the first one I ever made. I don't care for that bee. That bee looks a lot better, even though it's still ugly. His bee's the shit. I wish I made my bee as nice as his bee. Right, this is gonna fall apart. Let's see his bee. His bee is like a proper Red Sox bee. I always do nicer on other people's work than myself. It's the way it goes. It's the same way for mechanics. I know mechanics that absolutely drive pieces of shit, but they work on everybody else's car that is just nice as can be. Because you're not supposed to leave these under tension, ever. Take it off tension. It's just bad for the string. What it does is it weakens the string if you leave it under tension, say, for a week on end. Overnight, no big deal. But anything more than that, you know, you're asking for trouble. So this is barely under tension right now. I showed you how much tension was on before. It's barely anything. It's not even enough to hurt you. If you wind this up enough, like you let it whack you, which I have a couple times, it hurts. It's like, oh, that sucks. Won't do that again. On it after I was done. That's why it's a bit shiny and nice and sealed. I'd probably do the same with his. His, I took down to 2000 grit sandpaper, so it's super nice. Here are my uprights. Mine are super manageable, like I said. It's literally this width. So I can pack this out no problem in a canvas bag or a linen bag this big. This is my windlass that I put my Beantown Bushcraft on it, and I also put, what else? An Ernest style dragon. Ern's style dragon. Here's a backup windlass that I have bark on the back of this one. This is a red pine. Yeah. Red pine, that's a nice face side, and you can see I polyurethane that too, just because I want to protect it. I get caught in the rain, at least my stuff won't swell. But that has bark on it, which actually looks pretty neat. It has the bark still attached on the back. I thought that was just kind of a nice touch. So this one was from a maple tree. Matter of fact, the same maple that I got these logs from that I'm going to make a kooks out of. Second to last time I went in the woods. So those are just sitting until I have my own time. Right now it's customer time. Until I have my own time to do my own projects on my own, got to get customer stuff up and out. So these are just the little cheap, cheesy pins. I always have extra pins. I'm going to make Jim a couple extra pins, Mr. Crosby a couple extra pins. These are just freaking little pieces of wood that I've shaved off of whatever. But I think that's all that's in there. Yeah, I always have at least an extra or two pins. That pin's not looking very healthy. His pins are awesome. His pins are like nice and in good shape. Let me quickly pop my guy together. But that bank line is just the nuts. It is so strong. I've had this bank line since I made this, and I haven't had to replace it. It's number 36. Yeah, it's just really good, strong stuff. I'd rather bank line than paracord any day. Plus, it's tarred. It's tarred bank line, so it grabs the wood. It doesn't slide off like, say, paracord would. But what you do is you get, once you finally set up your saw, it's got a little knotted, tremulous. But what you do is you take it and run it twice. So, what I did when I first, and this is nice, that one's locked in. Nope, it's the other one that gets locked in. This one gets locked in really nice. Yeah, I made a nice, really nice small groove on that one. That one's absolutely just knocked right in. This guy back. So. You guys want to see how this locks in? You probably do, huh? So like I said, that's a really nice, solid, tight fit. What I did is I put a back cut on it. So when it goes inside of that mortise and tenon, it's not straight down like his is. Mosquito. It's made the mortise and then I back cut, which I just thought would look neat, and it certainly does. And it's an absolute positive fit. Pretty cool. And then on this one, I believe I did roughly the same design. Those are some runes down here. And on the outside, I just did like a a leaf pattern, but you can see that little notch in the blade. But I did leaves. What else? And I did I don't think there's anything cooler than being in the woods and having a saw with you. Some guys have all these cool little folding saws, but you know what? Your folding saw is an 8-inch blade. I have a 25-inch blade, and it takes 2 minutes if I like get on it. It takes 2 minutes to set it up, literally. Now I'm pointing out different parts and pieces to show you, how to set it up. But when I'm in the woods saying it's getting dark, I can have this thing set up in probably even under a minute. So what I'll do is I'll roll now before I twist that on to get some tension on this puppy now. So when I lock it in here, it already is, oh, one of those pins popped out. Yep. So you gotta have those dowels hanging on, otherwise the blade is just gonna boop. So that's why I always have a backup. Always have a backup. Pop that guy on the outside. I have a backup couple things. Backup windlass and backup dowels. I actually need to pop some more dowels in there. So I'm just rolling it now. Then I'll jam it through the two. And once you do that, you just get spinning. So if I have it on this side, it's going to cover the Beantown bushcraft. You have to make sure you spin in the right way. So you spin towards the front of the saw. If this is facing you, you spin towards yourself. So what I'm doing right now, and pushes the bottom out, pushing the bottom out with those pins on the outside of your blade. It's going to lock them in tight. Now I'm getting pretty tight, so I want to move my windlass down into this nice notch I created in it, right there and right there, that this bank line sits in. So I'll do that. Now I can just carefully, I know my tension's almost already there, so I'll just carefully, and it looks neat. So, the windlass, pretty cool, and I like it a little bit tighter than that. Do one more spin. So what you have to do now that I moved this up into the lock position is just kind of throw it behind the side. But I know I'm safe with this just being halfway through the cross member. Jim's, I actually made to where there's not a ton of tension on here. Let's see, it'll go like this. If he wanted to, he doesn't have to use that top notch. That top notch there. He can put it right there, that it's going to lock into place. But then, he won't be able to put it in this top notch. I may, before the day's out, even though this guy is done, 100%, the windlass is 100% complete. I may, just to make it look nice, I may just trim that off flush with the cross member. So I very well may, but now you can see the difference. Mine, blade, everything. Poplar's a super light wood. Plywood's terribly light. But you can see, let's see, we'll go blade to blade. You can see the size comparison. It's like dad and son. So Jim got the big dog, and I asked him, I was like, hey man, because he mentioned, you saw me cutting that maple I was telling you in a video. And I was in the woods, just and it's terribly aggressive teeth. Very, very aggressive. But he asked me, he says, hey, can you make me one of them? I said, of course, man. No problem, 2 seconds. And I said, do you want the 28-inch blade? I'm pretty sure it's 28. I think my exposed face is 25, but I want to say the overall with the blade is 28. No, I fibbed. It's 20 and a half. So the cutting face is 18-inch cutting face. His is 28. The actual cutting face is 28 inches. It's massive, dude. Check this out. Massive, massive. So the log I worked on earlier, just to make sure everything was sound with this guy. It was about this size. It was a 4-inch diameter log, and I got through it in like 2 minutes. It was insane. Straight cutting down sequoia redwoods. Just blasting through the thing. So, yeah, that's the difference, man. That is the difference. And we'll do top this time. So you can see the windlass is clearly, this is almost twice as big as my saw. If I was to shift it over just a little bit, this side piece comes to his windlass. So, he literally has twice the saw I do. But, I'm honestly glad he's using it as like a workshop saw. It's going to be great for him if, say, at night he doesn't want to turn on his power tools, disrupt the neighborhood. At least he'll have a nice positive saw that he can do his stuff with it. So now you know. Beantown Bushcraft makes breakdown bucksaws. For now, we went through everything I had to. Jim.Crosby.16 at Insta. And like I said, I'm going to paint this. Not sure what I'm going to do with the inside of his name yet. But after I scroll his designs here out, which, like I said, I don't know if you can see. Get my headlight up on it. Yeah, you can kind of see. It's like a little scrolly. You can see. So the reason I put this here is because that's where I'm taking about material about up to here. So the scroll is going here and then here. So here's all gone, here's all gone, and then I'm gonna wind up taking probably that much. I'm leaving about an inch above where my mortise is because I don't want to weaken that structure at all. It's already a beautifully tight joint, and if you know about carpentry, you know mortise and tenons are a terribly strong joint as long as they're cut right, and mine are cut right because I do it by hand. So we're having like a nice little, and then this decorative bit, this will all be cut out, and it will be kind of scrolly, like old chair legs, stuff like that. So it's going to be neat. And with that being said, after I cut his uprights out, I'm going to do some Viking style runes all the way down here. So needless to say, I have my work cut out for me still. It's complete, as in it's functioning. But when it comes to complete as ready to be shipped, no, negative, not even remotely close. And his uprights are 18 inches. So his uprights are absolutely massive. I have a lot of decorating, and you saw how long it took me to just outline that, because you got to go slow as molasses. But yeah, he has 18-inch uprights, man. Like, that is no joke. There's a lot of room to cover there. There's a lot of room, a lot of real estate, as they say. So my uprights are a foot, I believe. Yeah, exactly a foot. They're 12 inches. And my cross member is, I have about a half-inch relief in there. So we'll call it 19 inches. So my cross member is 19. And mine is just light as can be. Like I said, this is like, I think 2 or 3 ounces. It's like, there's nothing to it. This is an extremely packable, like, just light as can be. And it's neat because you can cut under stuff too. That's what I really like. I like the versatility of breakdown bucksaws and the fact that you can make these in the woods yourself. You just have to have a really sharp knife and something with a good point, like, say, a Mora companion. If anybody wants to donate to my fund, no, I'm just kidding. But I lost my Mora Bushcraft Black in the woods about 2 weeks ago. I'm fucking brokenhearted. I'm absolutely brokenhearted. It was my favorite knife, and I had a P38 attached to it. So that was also my can opener. Yeah, so Murphy has a beantown bushcraft. No, I'm not begging. I don't. But hey, throwing it out there. If anybody wants to hook a beantown bushcraft at Gmail, there you go. Let me know, and I'll send you something. Matter of fact, I'll send you something dope in the mail if somebody wants to get me a new more bushcraft black. I'm just so saddened by that. I really am. I can't believe I lost it in the woods. So I was telling Jim a couple days ago, Mr. Crosby here, Mr. Bucksaw, right yonder, that I painted this, and I painted it kind of dope after I found it. So this is my segue. I lost my more bushcraft in the woods. Well, I also lost my striker. And I had the bright idea. This was all just carbon steel. So I had the bright idea to do like that design you can see, right? So it's like red with black dots. I thought it would be very cool, like Viking style. And I went and chucked it out in the woods to see. When the fall comes around, I'm not going to be able to see a fucking thing. The leaves, like, and hopefully it's coming up. Like, I know that angle, you can still see all the neat red paint with the dots, the neat black dots. I actually thought it looked a lot like a red bandana with that paisley design, right? Definitely a red bandana. So I just took it and put gold. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if it's coming out, if it's being washed out by the light, but I painted it gold. So now, so you can see the underside now. You can still see that when I turn it to the side, but it's completely fucking gold, and I hate gold. Gold is so tacky to me. I'm absolutely a silver guy. But yeah, it's gold. So now I chucked it in the woods and I can see it perfectly. So I was like, I can't win. I didn't have bright orange paint. I went to go use my bright orange fluorescent that I mark floors with and mark around, like say landscaping when we're out, say pouring a foundation, chopping some concrete out to pour new forms or wherever or whatever. And my fucking orange spray paint, I haven't used it in like 3 years. I went to go rattle it, or maybe 2 years. I went to go rattle it, and it was just dead. I was like, no. It was still paint in there, but the nozzle was gone, so I swapped nozzles from another spray can. It was just the spray paint was toast. It was absolutely toast, and I didn't have a chance to go run out. Not a huge fan of it, but hey, man, it is what it is. But you can see what is it, a serpent? Yeah, it's like I did two snakes on here. So that's the top of his tail. Comes down, and then, and his face, one of his faces, right? Yeah, his face is there. His mouth is wide open. And then secondary, let me see this one. Yeah, that's the top of his face. His mouth is also open, like. But I did like a dragon style, urn style design for the bottom or his body. I wanted to do dragon, but it came out snake, so I ran with it. But it's a windlass. Like, I break these all the time, so I'm probably gonna break this thing. So putting too much stock into it, too much artwork into it, for me is just like, yeah, I'm probably just gonna break it anyways. But those are some runes, as you can see, different styles. I'm gonna have to shut the door, getting skeeters in here. So there you go. That's my breakdown bucksaw. That's how it works. These are the grooves it fits in to accept the blade. Like I said, those are the notches that the little wooden dowels lock in, like so. And yeah, they're fun to make. So if anybody's in the market and they are interested in buying a bucksaw from me, they're reasonable. I'm not out to get rich. I'm out to bless people with cool shit they can break down and take into the woods and say, hey dude, I got a saw on me. So it's just fun. It's fun to make them, it's fun to decorate them, and it's fun to see people turn around and use them. It just makes me happy to see people using my products. So it's cool. Like I said, I'm not getting rich off them. Um, it's just, something neat to have and to pack in and pack out. And I also will make a handmade linen sheath for it. I don't want to call it a scabbard because it's not a scabbard, but it certainly would be a sheath or a holster, I guess, maybe. But yeah, just fun shit, man. Nothing like taking a rough piece of wood and turning it into something really neat and having somebody say thank you for it. It's more than enough thanks that if I was rich, I'd still be doing this. I would be fucking giving them away. Like, well, maybe not. I would be selling them for dirt cheap, though. And I'm not making a fortune off of these guys. I'm making a lot less than you guys think I would be. Considering the hours I put into them. I probably have, no lie, 60 hours into that already. Not even kidding. But it's all about blessing people with good shit. It's all about hooking people up that like neat stuff, that appreciate the fuck out of it. And Mr. Crosby is just beside himself right now, and that makes me happy as a clam, that he just can't wait to get it. And honestly, I can't wait to ship it out. I can't wait to get it done. But that's what my what did I say, 25 inches? That's what my 22? I think I said 22. 20. That's what my 20 inch, and I have 3 more blades to go. So if anybody wants one, holla, let me know. It will come with a nice canvas carrying case. I won't paint it, I'll let you do that. But I will decorate, you saw. But I will let you decorate your case. Any rate, let me show this off real quick. I haven't shown this off in a minute. So I made this once I started making all my Viking clothing. It is, and I can say I made it not make the metal blade, but the liners, these I actually got as blocks. So they were 3/4 by, I think, 7 inches by 1.5 inches wide. But I made this neat scout carry, so it sits on my belt just like this. Scout carry, wet molded Viking sheath or sax sheath. Even though I don't have a sax in here, I would not call this a sax. I'll show it to you in a second. But I was stoked about this. Like, those welts came out the nuts. They actually came out really friggin' cool. I was psyched about that. And this was all just my design. So I took the knife and I said, yep, this is what shape I want to do. And I saddle stitched everything. The saddle stitches came out really well. I was stoked about that. I put like I left little returns here that I could run these guys to sit scout on. And if I wanted to, I could actually just tuck that one behind and carry this on my belt like so, like Sami style. For you guys that know what a Sami style knife is all about, you know that they only have about 1.5 inches sticking out the top. So no matter all the jingling or running you do in the woods, they're not coming out till you want it to come out. So I had this guy sent to me from a buddy of mine. He calls it the Provider 6. That's what type of blade this is. But he literally sent me the blade, the brass pins, and that's called Wengi wood or Wengi wood. Not sure how it says it, but how to say it, but it's a black, extremely hard wood, and these are stabilized scales. It's a terribly, terribly hard wood from Africa, actually, which I thought was like, wow, I didn't even think they had trees. I know I'm being naive when I say that, but I didn't even think they had trees in Africa. You know, I thought it was all cactuses and just bush, but that's just me being naive. So I took these scales, or rather, I took these liners, believe it or not, from a old Clorox bottle. I shit you not. So those are laundry detergent. And this is the first knife I ever made. And if I do say so myself, I think it came out pretty fucking good. I absolutely love how it feels down. So with the face of the blade, instead of it pointing up, this is called the drop point. Without minus, instead of it pointing up, the blade points down. That makes it a true sax. But I absolutely love it. I love it for my first knife, and this is it's a hell of a thrower too. Believe it or not, it's a damn good sized blade. It's a 6 3/8 inch blade. Yeah, I gotta close that door. I get mosquitoes bad. 6 3/8 split. 6 3/8 inch blade overall. 11 and a half. 11 3/4. Overall, it's 11 3/4 inch by. At the widest point, it's 1.5 inches. But yeah, it was absolutely a blast, and it didn't come with a very good edge on it. I put a much better edge on it, but it was fun just taking it down, buffing it out, making this just gleam. Like I could use this as a signal mirror, no joke. I could use this as a signal mirror if I get lost in the woods. But man, shaping those blades. So like I said, this is just a block. This is just a block of wood, and I put that curve to it. I took an old 1/4 inch copper pipe I had, or copper tubing. You can see right through there. Make a lanyard hole. So I took some copper tubing. I drilled a hole through that because I wanted some. If I ever wanted to, I don't like putting paracords on knives if I don't have to. Just because I feel like when you go and grab it or draw for it, they get in the way. So I didn't bother. But yeah, it's a kick-ass blade. So I haven't shown this guy in a while. And there was actually 2 ways to mount this. So with that finger choil there, I could have moved everything back a little bit to have that finger choil not meet up with the front of the scales. And then that way, this hole, actually I didn't, yeah, I drilled the hole through the scales. I didn't drill it through the knife. That was there through the knife. But that would have been room for the last pin, I believe, if you move these guys all the way back. His knife, if you see him, his scales start here. So I could have moved everything back, but I like having that protection of that much of the knife sticking out, opposed to it being my hand all the way up on it like that. To me, it made perfect sense. And this is something I also have to decorate. This is something I'm going to either wood burn or... And I literally did all this leather work. This leather work is from scratch. It was just a sheet of 8 to 9 ounce veg tan leather. And, you know, I ran my groover, and the stitch marks on the side. And all these guys are a nightmare to follow. An absolute nightmare, because you can see how much leather I'm punching through there. There's 3 different leathers, a welt right there that I punched. 1/8 of an inch. Let's see. No, dude, that's a 1/2 inch. That is a 1/2 inch of leather I punched through. Boy, it was tough to make all the saddle stitch look nice in this guy. But man, I'll tell you what, it was a blast, because it was just gratifying at the end to go, wow, dude, that's sick. I freaking love it. I just love it. So yeah, I'm gonna wind up putting something neat on that. I'm not sure what theme I want to go with yet. I've had this, I made this about a year ago, and I'm still undecided. But cutting the straps were fun. I just, you know, I don't know what I want to do on it, but I'll tell you what, it looks dope on my hip, on my belt, my big Viking belt running through here. It looks dope just sitting sideways on my belt with those red liners. And it's funny, you'd never think that somebody could take, some creative asshole like myself could take laundry detergent, take an old Tide bottle and make fucking knife liners out of them. But hey, you know, you use what you got, right? All right, with that being said, you guys saw the Bucksaw. I appreciate you. It's Beantown. You can find me on Instagram. It is Beantown Bushcraft, Beantown _ Bushcraft on IG. That's my Bruins jersey, baby. And you can also find them when you're in a Viking. Otherwise, we're gonna have fucking words. So go summon you're in a Viking before you get in trouble. This is a stock handle for you guys that follow me on Beantown _ Bushcraft on IG. You guys know I just made this handle for it, wherever I put it, in this nice little, yeah, gotta love the mothballs on it. No, it's spider webs. Yeah, nice poplar. So I made a super light poplar handle for this new axe. I still have my OG axe. Don't get it twisted. I still have my Bad Larry. My Bad Larry's not making axe. And this guy's massive. This guy's 25 inches. That's where I got 25 inches mixed up with my stuff. But that guy's 25 inches. This guy's just my thrower. And boy, is he fun. But I heard that these handles break and kind of shit the bed all the time. And after like 8 chucks, I put a huge gouge in it. So I turned around and made a poplar, just like the uprights on the bucksaw. Right? So these uprights are also made out of poplar. Yeah, I did put a little boiled linseed oil on it, but it still will eventually look fairly dark. But I wound up putting a bunch of neat bind runes on it. That guy's just a blast to throw. Absolutely so much fun to throw. And I carved in just 3 grooves, 3 for the bean, as you know, and I painted them red because I did misplace this a couple times. When I say misplace it, I mean threw it and it wound up beyond the tree, not even in the tree, to the right of the tree. So I'm like, damn. I was like, I'm gonna lose this with all the leaves that are on the ground now that summer's just about over. Absolutely don't want to lose it in the woods, man. So did those quick 3 little red slashes at the bottom. So give me a little highlight. Give me a little highlight so I won't misplace it. But that was fun to make. This is another little leather craft that I've made recently. And these saddle stitches came out even better than my other ones I just showed you on my knife sheath. Those saddle stitches look really nice, and I tried my hand at tooling, leather tooling. So talk about a welt. That's a serious welt in there. It's also a serious welt. Take this off. Also a serious welt right here. Look at the size of that welt. That's a heavy duty welt. So I wanted a top opening, and I just recently put this shock cord on it because I actually, stupid me, dropped this guy in the woods. So this was on here, and I thought wet molding it would keep it cinched, but I knew eventually I'd have to come to some realization to put some time. And I go and look, and I was like, no. So I had to backtrack where I just was, and I'm like, son of a bitch. Luckily enough, I found it. Literally that night I came home, put bells on it for my Dead Viking paste beads on my Etsy channel, which my Etsy channel is Beantown Bushcraft /shop/Etsy. Yeah, I know, I'm plugging myself, but hey, if I don't plug myself, nobody else will. I have very few people out there that will put my business out there, and the ones that do know who they are, and I thank you deeply. I honestly thank you from the bottom of my heart. But I thought that buffalo nickel was a nice touch on there. I Loctited that guy in, but it's a proper Indian head nickel. If you flip it over on the other side, there's a screw hole, but if you look on the underside, it's a real buffalo head nickel. Absolutely the real deal. It's not a screw, but there's a little Beantown Bushcraft. You turn it to the side, and it's like a mountain scene. There's a sun up here and some stars. Where's the star? So Beantown is the mountains, I guess. Go figure. So with that being said, summon you're into Viking on Instagram and Beantown _ Bushcraft. I'm gonna get back to working on this guy. We gotta do some stuff like painting the Instagram design from my friend Jim Crosby. Jim.crosby.16 at Insta. So please go check him out. Definitely check him out. But be waiting for this to be in his arsenal, because he is absolutely going to show off the breakdown bucksaw that Beantown made for him. And I'm stoked, because he's absolutely just going to love the thing. And this one isn't heavy. Remember I was saying how light mine was? Mine's terribly light. But this one isn't heavy. It's a bit cumbersome, just because it's so bloody big. It's just a monster. But can I have got my foxy face on, dude? Here we go. I love wearing this in the winter. It's actually a chill night tonight, but it feels good, so I'm not complaining. But I love my fox. Absolutely love my fox. Throw that over the old chula. Thing's terribly soft, keeps me warm as hell. But yeah, be on the lookout for this in Jim's channel soon. It is absolutely going to be there. I'm not going to do any more cutting tonight. It's already 9 something. It's 8. It's 7 past 8. But definitely going to paint. And I don't want to start doing runes on this till I cut the scrolls, like I said. We're going to do something with the cross member. So until then, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Thank you for joining me, and don't forget to summon your inner Viking. And Beantown _bushcraft on YouTube. With that being said, later, gangsters.